I am State Representative Christy Purcell. I represent Northfield, Lonsdale, Dundas, and New Prague. And we are approaching our 39th hour of holding the floor in our sit-in to ask the Speaker to bring a package of very common sense gun violence prevention that our friends in the Senate already did the work to pass. And it has been an absolute privilege to get to do this with some of my favorite humans, and we have gotten to be on Zoom and talk with other incredible people who are passionate about this from across the state of Minnesota, from across the country. And what we know is that we are doing everything that we can to do something, to do anything, to take action, to prevent the next act of gun violence. And so we got 2 days left of session. We're putting it all on the line. And we heard other leaders say that they were going to do things and then not take the action. And so we wanted to bring the voices from outside of the Capitol into the Capitol and do everything we possibly could to bring justice and follow through for all of the people who have been impacted by gun violence.
First of all, hi everybody, I'm Zaina Mohammed. I am from South Minneapolis and I represent the families and the communities at Annunciation alongside my colleague, Representative Emma Greenman, and I am grateful to my House colleagues for holding down the floor for 36 hours. 36 hours of no sleep. Because they understand what the people of Minnesota are demanding for in this moment. Action, to make sure that kids in our communities are safe when they go to school, when they attend church or our synagogues, and they are safe in our communities. It took 2 minutes and 116 rounds for us to lose Fletcher and Harper in our communities, and for 27 other people to be shot. That is inhumane. And the people of Minnesota have asked us to step up and to do something. In 2018, when Parkland happened, there was a sit-in in the House, and people demanded action, and nothing happened. And when we came back with our majority in 23, we got a number of gun policy preventions done, including red flag laws, which have saved lives. Annunciation happened. We know what the data shows. In the last 10 years, over 150 mass shootings across the country. The single weapon that was used was an assault weapons ban, was an assault weapon. And the people of Minnesota and across the country are asking for us to ban these weapons of war in our communities. That is what these colleagues of mine have done. Stood up, and they're demanding for their leader to hold the vote. If she does not want to vote for an assault weapons ban and a high-capacity magazine, she should tell the people of Minnesota where she stands. And by the way, Lisa knows this too well. The people of Minnesota include her own daughter, who have spoken up this week and asked for her to hold this vote. She is a survivor of gun violence, and we stand with her. And so we stand with the families. We stand with the moms who are asking for us to take action. I stand with my colleagues who've been holding down the floor for the last 36 hours and will continue to fight for this until midnight. And if Lisa does not hold this vote, we will take it to the ballot box. that is a warning to Lisa and to the Republicans in Minnesota. We will win the majority, and we will ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines out of our communities come next year if you do not hold this vote. And with that, I'd like to introduce my partner in this work, somebody who's worked on these policies for the last decade, Senator Ron Latz.
So my name is Ron Latz. I represent St. Louis Park Hopkins and a part of Edina in the state Senate. I'm chair of the Senate Judiciary and Public Safety Committee. And I've been working on these issues for 20 years since I first was a member of the House. In 2023, we passed the background check bill and the red flag law, which we know are saving lives every day in Minnesota. The red flag law has been used over 400 times to separate people in crisis from the guns that they have access to. And one of those times was to protect Speaker Demuth. She is the protected party. This is public. I'm not speaking out of turn because I read it in the media. She is a protected party in a red flag order from the court. So she is benefiting from these measures to protect people from gun violence, but she will not extend that same courtesy to the rest of Minnesota with these new additional protections against gun violence. Now, we know that sit-ins work. I am so impressed with everything that you have all done in the House to control your floor. Sit-ins changed the civil rights laws in this country in the 60s. So you are standing, if you will, on very strong shoulders by sitting down and sending the message that you have sent. So thank you, members of the House, for taking that powerful action. And yes, the legislation that the Senate passed 34 to 33, and sent to the House, which sits in a drawer apparently at the Speaker's rostrum. And how do you not even acknowledge you've received the message from the Senate? I don't get it. It was about guns. It was about the assault weapons. It was about the magazine capacity limits. It was about binary triggers. It was about unserialized 3D printed ghost guns. It was about safe and secure storage to keep firearms away from those who, under existing law, are not eligible to possess firearms because we know they're already a danger to society. It was about more than that too, though. So when the Republicans tell you it's not about the guns, it's about the people, they are also not voting on the about the people parts of the legislation that we passed in the Senate. They are not voting on the safety steps for our schools. They are not voting on the mental health support for our children in crisis. There's a lot of stuff in that package, and that's why it was so special. It was the first and most comprehensive legislation in Minnesota to reduce gun violence as a package. And to deprive my legislative and the colleagues in the House on both sides of the aisle from the opportunity to say this is where we stand and to tell their own voters this is where we stand is a real travesty. It's an undermining of the legislative process. It's playing games with people's lives. We deserve better. Minnesotans deserve better, and the constituents of those who will not take the vote deserve better. They will get better Keep the pressure on. And Minnesotans, when you see this, call the Minnesota House of Representatives. Flood those phone lines demanding a vote. Hold the vote.
My name is Representative Julie Green. I represent Edina and Bloomington. I'm a new legislator here at the House. I want to focus a little bit of what I want to talk about on the last 36 hours inside the House chambers. One of the things that we've had the opportunity to do is to really connect with the people of Minnesota. We have heard from Annunciation families. We have heard from parents. We have heard from students. We have heard from survivors. We have heard from medical professionals. We have heard from members of our U.S. congressional delegate supporting us and saying this is important and why this is important. One of the most special things that I think has happened as something from this is it gave us a moment to pause and really listen. You know, we've been working on doing that. I feel like our caucus has been doing that well before the last 36 hours. But we have heard stories we had a live stream going, and we have medical professionals from Children's Hospital on their break coming to a live stream and telling us why this is important, spending their 10 minutes off over a cup of coffee saying, we're hurting children. We have to do something. They are sick and tired of treating kids that come in with gunshot wounds. And for some reason, our colleagues across the aisle are closing their ears to what that actually looks like. Because when you learn that there are 40 professionals working on one student, one 9-year-old trying to save their life, and what that actually looks like and feels like, and that trauma that comes with that, not just for the victim, but for all those professionals, it is heartbreaking. How do you not listen to them? It's mind-boggling to me. The other thing that we have heard from our Annunciation families, and I want to share a little bit about one of the parents shared with us the morning after we tried to call urgency on a vote. She shared two things that I cannot stop thinking about, and I'm so appreciative of her bravery to come forward. One is the idea that what we're doing here is political theater, that the Annunciation families, us as elected officials, us sharing stories is somehow political theater. How arrogant, how rude, how hurtful. Just re-traumatizing our families, saying that what they're saying doesn't matter. The other thing that she shared was that even if we passed all these laws in this comprehensive package, it wouldn't have made a difference with what happened at Annunciation. Shame on them. How do they know? They don't know. Right, and you look at, you know, we have evidence behind the different comprehensive elements of this package. We know safe storage matters on school grounds. We know that banning assault weapons makes a difference. So how hard is it to just stop for a moment and say, well, but what if? What if we passed this and 5% reduction happened? For me, that is at least one, yeah. If we could have saved one student at Annunciation from being injured, it would have mattered. Yes. And that's what this has been about. I'm going to pass it off to my next colleague, but I really want to say a shout out to all the people that have come here, the communities, the partners that we've had. We have heard from people all across the state, you know, stories back from 1986 about how gun violence continues to impact them. And no longer is it, you know, 3 people away that have a story. We are 1 person away from people that have a story, and we have an opportunity to change that. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Samantha Sensamura, and I represent South Minneapolis here at the state legislature. When I came into this legislative session, I made a promise to my community. I promised that I was going to do everything within my power to do something about gun violence in our state. Speaker Demuth also made a promise coming into this legislative session. She promised the families of Annunciation that she would let us hold a vote. What we are asking for is simple. Speaker Demuth, open the drawer, take out the bill, and hold the vote. My colleagues and I just sat. We really can't say it enough. My colleagues and I just sat for 36 hours on the House floor, and we have about 36 hours left of this legislative session. It took 2 minutes at Annunciation to kill 2 children in our community, and it would probably take us 2 minutes to hold this vote. When it comes to our children, we do not have the luxury of despair. Speaker Demuth, hold the damn vote.
My name is Emma Greenman, and I represent South Minneapolis, and I represent the Annunciation communities and all of our communities in the Minnesota House. And here's what I know of my colleagues standing behind me, of our colleagues in the Senate. We have been listening all session to the voices of Minnesotans across the state saying, choose us, not guns. We have a simple choice. It is the same choice we walked into session that started far before we gavelled in that first day. It started on June 14th. It started on August 27th. It started... You can hear the voices of Minnesotans demanding that we make the choice that we came in this session asking, which is, are we going to listen? And you heard my colleagues talk about it. We spent 36 hours listening to families, listening to healthcare providers, listening to students. And that is what this vote is about. But we know the tools of democracy are many. We have been trying to vote. We tried to declare an urgency. Our colleagues in the Senate passed a historic and comprehensive bill. And we have 36 hours. To deliver. But the people of Minnesota, they have done their jobs. The question is, will this body do ours? And what you are hearing from my colleagues is we are ready, we are here, we have been trying, and we need the colleagues across the aisle, we need Republicans to listen to the people of Minnesota. And if we do that, we will deliver. But make no mistake, we are not going to stop fighting until we have banned these weapons of war, until we have protected our kids, and until we have made the choice Minnesotans asking us. We will choose kids. Thank you.
My name is Maggie, and I'm here with Protect Minnesota. I don't have new words to offer today. There's nothing I can say that's more powerful than these voices. There's nothing more powerful than the voices screaming for their dead children. Nothing more powerful than the doctors who are here grieving the patients they could not save. Nothing more powerful than teachers who are here terrified for their students and themselves. Nothing more powerful than clergy praying to God for the lives of their parishioners. Minnesotans have spoken and they're here doing it again. Parents have spoken. Survivors have spoken. Students, social workers, law enforcement, doctors, emergency responders, faith leaders have all spoken. And if you won't listen to them, you won't listen to me. So our request here today is simple. Listen. Listen to the people of this state who are begging you to act. Listen to the grief, to the fear and the outrage. Listen to the overwhelming majority of Minnesotans who believe that their lives are worth protecting. We are asking you to listen to our voices, and we are here listening to you. We have 36 hours. Every person in this state is watching to see whether you care enough. We have 4 minutes for questions.
We are happy to take questions if you shout them. Any questions? And you can come. Any questions? Okay. Yep. We got to go in. We are going to continue to fight on this floor as long as it takes. Thank you.